I wanted to show you these parts really quick before I go coating them. I went ahead and added filler and plugged all the holes and got everything to where they should pull clean. Before I start these, I've already made 4 sets of these. We've got to make 4 more sets. I'm going to make a false drag. We're going to set these on almost like a pyramid coming up. Hopefully this will give me a much better finish and parting line. I have been grinding all day and it is now 7 o'clock, and told the customer I would do my best to try to get all these castings shipped by Monday, and it is Wednesday night. So I already ground the other castings, and they're in stress relief, the first batch. This will be the second batch, and then I got a third batch. And on top of that, we had a bad storm the other day that ripped off about 3 sheets of our tin on an area I store my stuff in. So I got to get down there at some point and fix that. I'm going to ram this really hard because this is going to need to hold up, and I already added quite a bit of clay to it. If you're wondering what these big white flakes are, that's granules of bentonite, and it will dissolve as time goes by. Fun part is going to be coping this. I have a feeling these are going to fall out. Press that sand down, kind of tighten it up around the edges. As I do this, I'm gonna I'm still putting my arm in your way, aren't I? As I'm doing this, I am firming that sand up best I can. Now, the reason I'm making a false drag is this way I don't have to do all this coping 4 different times. Gotta be careful right here because I'm transitioning in to a parting line on the other part now. As I was saying earlier, it makes no sense to waste all this time on each individual mold when I got to make 4 of these. And I'm not sure if this is going to work yet. We'll see. Somebody called me today, and I got to have these parts along with some other castings done by April the 1st, and I got a lot of things happening in between. Why can't this stuff come leisurely? I don't know. Now, this job I've had for quite a while, and so I cannot say anything about this guy. He did make a timely delivery, and I just haven't been able to get to it until now. But now the other job was told me the other day And I told him, I said, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but we'll do our best. Let's get this mound out of the way, like we did on this side. Yeah. That'll make the mold stronger in those areas. Now we're going to fine tune it on down a little bit. Now these pieces have there's two different thicknesses going on here that's you can't see from this side. There's a step that goes all the way down through there, so I want to make sure I get down to that spot. And one of the other things I have to do is number these patterns to make sure I put them exactly back in the exact same spot they were in. Hear the chickens? When she got them, I was scared they'd be getting on her porch. Guess what? They're getting on her porch now. We're going to have to put them in confinement again, I guess. Or Josie's going to have to eat them. I don't eat chicken. We raised those nasty things when I was a kid. And I've seen stuff that would horrify you. You know, I'm not joking when I tell people I'll eat a buzzard before I eat a chicken. They're the same thing. They eat the same thing. Now these should be just about ready to fall out of there. That's good enough to go ahead and start tapping them and loosen them up a little bit. Let's see if they're going to fall out. These two did. And number 4. Let's take a look at our false drag in better detail here and see where I need to do a little touching up. I'll coat this where I don't knock loose sand down on them. So you see areas like this where it's rough, that's where it tore out. So I'm going to just bring that down just a little bit. And then right here, I'm going to chamfer that back a little bit. That's the true parting line that I'm looking at. And I got a spot way up here that's rough. Try to slick that down. The rest of those areas look pretty good. I think I'll leave that. Now I got one spot right there. And one right here. I would like to tap these down low. I just want to make sure I got plenty of slope on this sand bank. I don't want it to grab anywhere in any of the areas. I'm going to come down a little bit with this. And my runner will go right down to here. You with me? It won't be making such a M shape, so to speak. I think we're ready to put the castings back in there and start ramming. Can you hear the coyotes? my dogs will crank up now. About time to refill the bag, isn't it? Man, I am tired tonight. Maybe it's because everybody else is asleep and I'm not. I'm not going to try to pour these tonight. It'll be late when I get these molded up. But I am going to jump on that first thing in the morning. Man, I got so mad the other day. Had a guy call me that I hadn't seen in freaking 30 years. And he was asking me how I was doing, and apparently he knew all my business. And the only thing is, I run into somebody the day before at a restaurant that also worked with us. And I said, what a coincidence. I just saw, and I couldn't think of his name. And he said, and I said, yeah. And I was thinking, how did he know that? Well, anyway. Long story short, he carried on a conversation with me there for about 10 minutes, sharing good times, catching me up on who's passed away that we used to work with out there in the machine shop. Anyway, I don't think he was in the machine shop. Maybe he was. And he said, man, I hate to bother you, but now keep in mind, I haven't heard or seen from this guy in 30 years. I thought he was probably dead by now anyway. He said, I'm broke down somewhere over in Louisiana. He said, and I got to get my truck back going, and I need some money. And if you could spare some, I'll have it back there to your house. That's this Saturday. And that kind of told me everything I need to know right there. And then I asked him how much, which didn't surprise me. I said, how much you need? And he said, $850. I said, $850, man? I'm trying. I said, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to eat next week. I don't have that kind of money. Of course, he don't know that, right? That really got off on me. And that's been a while ago now, and it still bugs me. You know, that someone that probably didn't even know I existed, or I thought didn't know I existed, would hit me up like that. Now, if he had contacted me a month ago and we were talking and having a regular conversation, and then he'd come over and visit or something like that, it might have been a different story. But no, hadn't heard or seen from this guy in 30 years. He expects me to give him $850. All right. Let's see how we did. So I think that's going to work. Now I'm ramming up the new drag. And then once I do that, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to put my sprue right there. $850. Hey man, how you doing? I ain't seen you in forever. Yeah, I know. You got some money? Yeah, I'm ticked off. You know, I got cornered by somebody, a stranger, in a gas station one time. And he was giving me this sobbed up hard story about how he's out of gas and he just started this job and he's trying to get to his job, and he was wondering if I had $20 he could borrow or have, since this was in either Shreveport or somewhere in that area. And I said, let's take a look in your wallet first, and let me see what you got. And man, I never seen somebody get. I thought he was going to shoot me. He was, I guess, that offended, and he didn't mind sharing that story, but he was too embarrassed to show me what he had in his wallet, I guess. Can't have it both ways. My ex-coworker, where I used to work, he was telling me he was filling up with gas one day down the road from where we worked in North Jackson there, and these individuals in an old truck pulled up, and this one guy got out, went on in the store, and Mike didn't think anything of it. And then the guy at the pump, he's going, man, I am having a hard time, and I would sure love it if somebody could help me out with some gas. I'm just trying to get out of Jackson. Anyway, Mike said, well, I'll go prepay the pump for you, and you can get some gas. The guy said, man, I sure appreciate it. Mike goes in there, and that guy that had gotten out of the truck with that guy was already in line, and Mike was looking over people's shoulder, and the guy had like dozens of cakes and junk like that, you know, junk food. And he saw the guy open his wallet, and he had a couple $100 bills in there. So, anyway, to make a long story short, when he got out there, the guy was waiting to see if, he said, the pump's not on. He said, it ain't going to be on either. You can hit your buddy up there to pay for the gas. I saw him open that wallet, and he left. But you got to watch people, man. You never know. When I think about how hard I work, and these guys don't work, it really ticks me off. All right, I told you guys wrong. I told you we were going to flip this over. I told you that this was going to be the new false drag. No, this is going to be the cope. So I guess what we made was the false cope. I want all the best finish down. And so with that said, my sprue and all that, it's going to be up here. And I'm going to tell you guys, you know, all the customers I've had over the years, I've been blessed to have good customers that honored what they said they were going to do, that paid. And, you know, I appreciate that. I really do. If you're one of those that's listening. Now, I got one guy up there in Tupelo. Out of all the customers I've ever had, I only had one that refused to pay me. To this day, he will not contact me. And of all places, it's right here in Mississippi. I wouldn't charge him enough for the time I had in that job anyway. And I was turning down some serious money just to get him taken care of. I could have been making several $1,000s, yet I was only making several hundred just to get this guy going. I need to quit renting. Like I said, this is going to be the cope. I'm happy with that. Now I need to remove these and hope for the best, and that worked. So I'm gating at the low points here, and I'm going to put this about right there. concerned. I'm going to repeat the process 3 more times, and then we're going to pour these in the morning. I know I'm not going to make it that far tonight, but we'll be back shortly. So this is what we have so far, and we got to have 8 of each. Right now we have 7. I have one mold that didn't make it, so we're having to recast that set, and then we're going to get on to the smaller castings, which are these. Now, I only have one. He needs 24 or 28, I can't remember, I'll have to look. So what I'm going to do, I went ahead and made 3 more to go with this, where I can put 4 in a mold, and then we'll hopefully either tonight or tomorrow we'll be knocking those out, and then we have to drill all these. The weather is supposed to get really bad today. That means we're probably going to lose power, so I have only a couple hours left before storm hits. So I'm going to go ahead and knock these 2 molds out. This one is nested. That's the 3 little castings that I got in there, and then one more set of the bigger ones. We'll knock these out, grind and clean those up, get them in stress relief probably tomorrow when I know the power's not going to blink. I don't know how my controller, let's say for instance I start off on stress relief cycle and lose power when it's dropped down to about 800 degrees. So if the power blinks or stays off for any time, it comes back on, will it start back up automatically in program at 1375 again and want to count down, or is it going to resume? And if the power is out for 4 hours straight, I'll need to just start the whole process over again anyway. So I may hold off about stress relieving until tomorrow, when I know our energy is going to be a little more stable. So I wanted to show you all this false drag that I'm making here. I'm probably not going to show the whole molding process, but I did want to throw this. This is the last of the greenhouse job that we're doing. I numbered each one of these castings, 1, 2, and 3. And as long as I put them, because each casting is there's a little deviation between any casting. So when you factor in the grind, how you grind one compared to the other, it'll change the profile of it. So we want to put casting number 1 in number 1 here. Number 2. And number 3. This is the job, all complete and ready to ship. These are all drilled. They've completed the stress relief process, and we had a few more than were ordered to throw in the batch. And the best thing is, we actually met a deadline, which is extremely rare for me. Keep in mind, I do this all by myself, so it's quite a challenge at times. Mathew Scott is the customer for this job. He owns Monarch Greenhouses. He specializes in a lot of the old Lord and Burnham greenhouses, and they're still in business. And I'm going to have a few people say, well, am I doing something against copyright laws? They don't offer this particular hardware for that era. These are from the Gilded Age and Victorian period, so no, we're legal in doing this job. I just wanted to nip that in the bud before it came up. If you'd like to check out his website and see some of his work, here are some examples of before and after pics of what he's done. And I can tell you, he is paying attention to every little detail on this, or he wouldn't be going back with the original cast iron hardware. If it had been anybody else, they probably would have found cheaper alternatives. But he does an excellent job. I follow him on Facebook, and I can tell he's really got his heart into this. As a matter of fact, he specializes in Lord and Burnham greenhouses. As when he was a kid, his first job was working in one, so it created a desire to bring these back to life. And it's because I'm in this business that I get to meet people with such unique tastes and talent. But anyway, hope you have a good remainder of the weekend, and we will see you later. For those who have been asking about the Windy Hill Foundry hats, these are now available on my website, windyhillfoundry.com, under stores, or you can click on the above link. These are on the pricey side, but keep in mind the shipping is included. Have a good day.